Howery, political analyst and pollster, and Mike Huckabee, Fox News contributor, former Arkansas governor. Matt, the Harris honeymoon. We talked about this a few weeks ago because a lot of people felt, well, gosh, we're so demoralized. She's so great. Look, the celebrities are doing Zoom calls. But what do these trends and what did her speech today and how wacky and left-wing it was, what does that tell you?
Well, it tells me that she's reached a certain level and she's not gaining any ground right now. We've seen in the polling that we look at that basically, as you said, all of these states are pretty tight, with Trump having a lead in most of them. Now, let me give you an example of how sometimes this train gets going and it's not really true. There was one set of polls that were introduced 2 days ago that came out and showed Harris leading almost every swing state. The only problem is it was produced on August the 14th. It ended the actual poll on August the 2nd when the honeymoon started. So you got to be careful about these averages. They make it look like there's more momentum for Harris than there actually is.
Now, a new survey conducted by RMG has Trump up by 1 point nationally, and including the leaners, Trump has a 2-point edge. Governor, Harris momentum. They got rid of Biden. They dumped him. They did a whole coup, big deal. They bypassed the primaries. They went right to Harris. And now basically they are where they were maybe before the debate or maybe a couple months before the debate. How's this working?
Well, here's what we've got to remember. Kamala Harris is like the ice cream cone right out of the freezer. Pretty good when it comes out of the freezer. But the longer it stays in the hot sun, the more it melts. What I'm seeing is it's August and the ice cream is melting. People are beginning to realize she can't answer a question. She won't answer a question. She gives these speeches like she did today that were what my friend Larry Gatlin would call bovine droppings, pure nonsense, utter ridiculous attitudes about how the economy works, completely clueless, like your previous guest mentioned. And at some point, people will realize she got nothing. She got nothing to give to us. And all we'll get with her is more of what we've had with Biden, which is 20% inflation and grocery prices doubled. And most Americans, I hope, are smart enough to say, can't live with that. Let's go back to Trump.
I mean, even the ideas that even pretty liberal Democrats have rejected, they threw out there today as part of her economic plan. I've never seen anything like this. This is just wild. So according to this other new survey, when asked if the U.S. would be better off if its policies were more like California, only 28%, Matt, agreed that they would be better off. But, I mean, aren't her policies closer to California's than, let's say, a traditional Democrat's policies, Matt?
Oh, they are. And I'll give the Trump campaign some credit. I know they get criticized right now. I think they're running a pretty good campaign. They have good ads up in these battleground states, certainly on the border, pointing these things out. What I think the Trump team needs, though, are some of these other PACs that are either running sort of wishy-washy ads or not running at all, to come out and point out the facts, the very things you're talking about, and run her own voice. The things that she has said in the past would horrify the independent and moderate voter if they could just see them. They just need to get them up there in the ad so it can penetrate past this news media that's blocking all these stories out.
Yeah, we're going to go to the ad wars in the next segment because we have some doozy ads out there that are phenomenal. But let's move on to Twisted Tim. Watch what happened when he was introduced back in 2016. Pay attention to the title that was used.
Congressman Tim Waltz, also a member of the Armed Services Committee and Veterans Affairs, Democrat of Minnesota, highest-ranking enlisted soldier ever to serve in Congress, enlisted in the Army National Guard at 17 and retired 24 years later as Command Sergeant Major and served with his battalion at Operating Enduring Freedom in Afghanistan.
Governor, I mean, this has happened repeatedly. And one thing you know by our brave men and women in uniform, they always know what rank they retire at. That's a really important deal. Is he contributing to her lack of momentum and the stolen valor issue that continues to bubble up?
If he isn't already, he will be, because the more people understand, they'll realize this guy's not ready for prime time. They didn't vet him. The reality is, well, let's be very clear. We honor him for his service that he did render, and he did, and I respect him for that. Here's what we can't honor. We can't honor the deception and the lies. He should be praised that he served, but he should not be praised for lying about the way he served. When he talked about he carried a weapon into war, he didn't.
Well,
when he talked about serving in Afghanistan, he didn't. And he had a rank that he didn't have. That's what's a problem.
Yeah, when she introduced him, said served with his battalion in Afghanistan, and you're nodding along to the introduction, that's a problem. And that speaks to someone who has a very weird, inability to just be straight about something that, I mean, he should be proud of his record. Like, I don't understand why he would want to do that, except if his motives were to inflate his background. So it's very odd, but I think that was a bad pick. Matt, do you believe Shapiro would have been a much bigger help to her?
Oh, heavens, yes. I think Pennsylvania would be really tough for Trump had that pick been made. I was shocked that they went with Walz. And I think when his record is shown and the things he said, this business about J.D. Vance not being good, J.D. Vance looks fantastic compared to him.
Well, I think